Welcome to another episode of Newday TV with me, Johan Philip. The three of you who watch Live Lunch will probably recognize me. I've got a special friend with me. And you are?
My name is Joel.
And what do you do, Joel?
I'm a pastor of a church.
You're a pastor of my church.
I'm a pastor of yours, yeah. So what do I do? I'm a husband of one wife. I have 5 children. I'm a pastor of a church in the seaside town of Brighton and Hove upon Sea. And I lead Newday, or at least I oversee Newday, which is the most spectacular jamboree that happens every year in this place, in Norfolk Showground.
We are at Newday at the moment.
We turn a field into a city. We turn an agricultural showground into a metropolis of life
and greenery.
And
tropical paradise.
And flavour and smell and joy and joie de vivre.
If you are watching post Newday, Joel probably is still living in his tent in Norfolk. Yeah. Rumor has it that you're permanently establishing camp in
like Abraham. I seek a city yet to come, having foundations.
Yes.
Under canvas. Yes.
Knows his Bible.
I don't know what he's talking about. I live in Brighton, but yeah, we're camping.
So, as part of the show, we've got a few questions for you.
Can you hear us?
Yep, we can hear.
Can you hear us? Can you hear us? Okay, should we carry on as if they can hear us?
Carry on as if they can hear us. We have a map of Newday. This is where the various accommodation situations happen at Newday, as well as the Big Top and the other activities. Do you know where's your tent or your caravan?
It's over there. Oh, sorry. So this
on the map.
This isn't to scale.
I feel like this is to scale. So we've got, if we have the...
My tent's much bigger. It wouldn't fit on this.
The Big Top, which doesn't look very big.
Oh, okay, the Big Top. Okay, now...
Your tent looks like it's bigger than the Big Top.
My tent is a caravan, which is here, yeah. You can just, if you look carefully, you can see the hanging gardens and the swimming pool and the servants and the stables.
Stables.
Yeah.
My tent is next to your caravan.
Yeah, good.
It's quite nice, isn't it? We're
next to each other. We do life there.
Great.
Good, yeah.
Do you know what? You guys haven't given us a timer, so we have no idea.
We're going to keep talking nonsense for as long as we like.
Anyway, behind these pieces of colourful paper are a question that may or may not have come from people who live in said coloured area. Mm-hmm. So which colour would you like to start with?
Let's start with the kind of indigo colour there, the purpley bottom right colour. Is that what it's called?
Purple. Okay, the question from the purple people. Joel Virgo, why should we invest in young people?
What you do is you get to the serious answer quickly. Why do we invest in people?
You chose the question randomly.
Yeah.
And the gods of fate decided that we should start with this one.
Why do we invest in young people? I guess what you mean is why devote so much time, energy? I mean, the reality is that there are people here this week who've actually already been here for at least a week before Newday started. So they're giving up more than a week. Some of them are giving more than 2 weeks of their summer. Some of them are giving more than 2 weeks of their summer and giving up days in the year. And some of them are people with massive jobs, like massive, normal, real jobs. Not like me, but people who work in corporations and are responsible for a lot of staff. It's like, you've only got so many weeks of holiday.
Host Live Lunch.
Or who host Live Lunch. And yet you give up holiday time to be at Newday. It is fascinating to see that this event happens because hundreds of people give up loads and loads of time, energy. They sleep about a minute for the week, and they don't get to do a lot of things that they would ordinarily do. They lose a lot of their comforts, and it's just amazing. Why do they do it? Because what happens on this campsite is truly sensational. It's truly disproportionate in its impact. It's like throwing a stone into a very still lake, because the ripples just go out everywhere. You're gathering thousands of people at the stage of their life when they're kind of starting to think about who they are, what's going on, what's the world, what is there a God? Is what my parents have told me about Christianity actually true? Who should I believe? Who on social media should I believe? Which celebrity should I follow? What should I do with my life? All these are the massive questions all kind of lined up, and all their emotions are alert and all their hormones are kind of going off the charts. And we get to gather them and we get to say, behold your God. We get to say, look, take a good look at the God who's revealed in Jesus. Look at him. Don't assume that you know him. Take a proper look at him. Get to know him. And we spend time with them. We spend time in prayer, in worship. We spend time looking at the Bible. We spend time just being together. And it's like shoving a kind of a lighted fuse into a firework factory. It's like, who knows what's going to happen? Because you know that you're sending thousands of lives off in all kinds of directions, but potentially kind of lit up with the potency of the Holy Spirit. And you never know exactly what's going to come out of it, but you know that if God shows up and does what he always has done, year after year after year, it's going to have huge impact on lives going forward. So we invest in it. It's sacrifice, it's tough, but it's worth it.
We had a really special moment this morning at the prayer meeting when hundreds of young kids gathering to pray before the meeting starts. Early in the morning. It's phenomenal, isn't it?
Yeah, and before that, some of them going to another meeting, like a devotional meeting,
No, I'm talking about the devotional meeting, sorry.
Okay,
So the early morning devotional prayer meeting that we had.
Yeah.
And you closed it by saying, now let's just all stand and before our Father, let's ask him, what do we really want? We want more of God.
Yeah,
and you could just see the whole room rising to that.
Do you know there's a meeting before that one?
Is there like a special meeting?
Yeah.
Or it's just you and your best friends?
Well, quite a lot of people go actually. Quite a lot of my friends.
It was just a lovely moment where you could see people responding, what do we want more in our lives? We want more of God. It was lovely. That was special for me.
It is
right,
beautiful.
next color.
Yellow.
Yellow.
You can quote
The
Coldplay.
yellow group would like to know, why is Newday important?
I think for the reasons above. Next.
Next color.
Green.
Green. Where do you see Newday in the next 5 years? Norwich?
Okay, big question.
Or
I don't think we're in a
Hawaii?
hurry.
Maybe in a different country?
I think
maybe in Spain?
We're going to actually, we're
not had great
looking
weather.
into doing Newday on the moon. That's the
On the
plan.
moon?
Yeah,
Wow.
we've got a contract set up with NASA, and we're looking into it. Okay, I think we may have to struggle with getting enough showers.
Yeah.
But that's the plan. The catering, most of it's done, so it's going to be good. No, we are. I don't think we're in a hurry to leave Norwich. It's a very, it's good. It's good here, but we'll see. But we've got a contract for a little while here. It's a brilliant location. But more to the point, where is it going in terms of the vision? Well, not really changing the vision. The vision is the same. The vision is that we want young people to meet with Jesus. We want them to have their lives changed by meeting with Jesus, and we want for them to get a vision for what Jesus is doing, which is the restoring, establishing, and planting of churches all over the world. We want them to catch a vision for Jesus' church. Jesus is passionate about his church, and that's really always been at the heart of the Newday vision. So I could say more on that, but I wonder if it will come up on one of the further questions.
Oh, you wonder
If it
if
doesn't,
it
I'll come
might.
back to it.
Sorry, what color would you like to go
Let's
with?
go blue.
Blue. The blue question is, why is it important? What is the importance of living for Christ in your teenage years?
Well, I guess you're kind of you're setting yourself up for decades to come, and if you use teenage years well, you're kind of going to, in a sense, you're giving yourself a head start. You just land on your feet for your 20s and 30s and 40s, and you'll never regret it. If you live for Christ in your teens, you will never regret it. If you live for anything else, you will regret it. And in your 20s and 30s, you'll look back and say, I wasted so much time. And you'll feel sometimes as though you're kind of trying to win back stuff, the ground that you could have taken in your teens. It's a serious, sober thought, but that's in the Bible. It says in the book of Proverbs that you can get to the end of your life and think, why did I despise discipline? Why did I not listen? And I feel like I'm in bondage. I feel like I'm in chains. I feel like I've ended up in trouble that I shouldn't have got into because I wasted that precious time. That if I'd set the right foundation, man, I would have flown by the time I'm in my 20s. And I know people now who, because in their teens they just stay devoted to Jesus. Honestly, anything is redeemable. I'm not saying that if you've wasted your teens, God can't restore them and turn the whole situation around. He does. He's amazing like that. But the honest reality that I also see is that there are people who I look at and I see the maturity and the wisdom and the fruit from their lives when they're in their 20s, and I think that's because you solidly follow Jesus in your teens.
You could also make big decisions in your teenage years that could have a huge impact on the rest of your life. The choices of possibly your future life partner, what city you're going to be based in, what degree you study, where you invest your money. Big decisions.
And sometimes some people actually in reality, they don't wait till they're adults before they start doing their life calling. You know, some people, they just get on with it. And God, you know, praise God for them. That's amazing. Like people like Spurgeon was preaching to thousands in London when he was like 18 years old.
Wow.
So who knows?
Jesus was doing that when he was 12.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. Yeah. But I also think there's something of saying that the truest, the happiest, the most fulfilling way of life is the life that follows Jesus. Amen. And if you want to live your best life, you want to live that life in truth. You want to live that life for what you were created, and that is to worship Jesus.
Yes.
And so,
it's good.
Last question.
Feeling the red.
Last question. The red question. Oh, the red question. This is massive, and I'm glad that you picked it last. How would you sum up Newday 2019?
Okay, I think it gives me an excuse to come back to this theme of the church, because that's the big theme of the week. We've talked about the church a lot. Honestly, I say we've talked about it, it's more like God's talked about it in all kinds of ways, through the teaching, just through the whole way that the week has worked. And when we see the Bible, we kind of see it as all kinds of little trinkets of information and rules and little tiny stories, but it's not. It's one magnificent story, and it's a story. It tells the story of human history. You know, human history begins in a garden and ends in a city, and it's not a city that's like the cities we know, which seem to be these days more and more and more filled with violence and injustice and distortion of the gift of sex and sexuality and selfishness and crime and the rest. It's a city that's not like any city we know. It's a city that's actually like a garden. It's filled with people and it's built really well, like really strong foundations. But it's a garden in the sense that it's filled with life and color and diversity and sanctuary and safety and Jesus is there, God walking amongst his people. That's what the Bible describes as in the last page of what the future of human history is. And it's this vision for a kind of city that preoccupies God from the early part of the Bible to the end. This vision of a city that it's God's dream. It's God's kind of urban dream. And through history, there have been people who had their great dreams, and sometimes they share them. They get up on platforms and they say, like Dr. King, they say, I have a dream, and whole generations catch it. But you need to know that God has his dream. God's dream isn't going to fade. It's his dream. You know, we have dreams that, you know, people here on this campsite probably dreamt of winning X Factor or getting on to, you know, multiple thousands of Instagram followers or whatever. Their dreams fade. You know, if you dream to be an astronaut or a footballer, you're probably going to see that dream fade. God's dream will never fade, even though it fades for us. You know, when we talk about the church, for most people at Newday, initially that's not a dream. That's a miserable option. That's like, who cares about? I like Newday. I don't like the church. For Jesus, it's a dream that will never fade. He is not giving up on his church. He will not quit his passion for his church. She's his bride, and he loves her, and he's laid his life down for her, and he's now praying for her perfection. He's going to see that she becomes radiant. And so there's nothing more important happening on planet Earth now than this dream that Jesus is sharing with us. He's saying, I want you to be in on it. I want you to be part of it. I want you to spread it. I want my garden city to fill the earth. And that means we plant this garden. We plant churches everywhere. We start churches. We strengthen churches. We establish churches. We don't knock the church and say we love Jesus. That's ridiculous. You can't. It's like loving your wife but hating marriage. It doesn't make any sense. No. The way to love Jesus is by loving the church and serving her because you know he does. Yeah. And seeing her built and grown and strong and healthy, seeing her to be the vibrant, radiant, life-giving, light-shedding, fruit-bearing community that the world desperately needs to see. And if that's not what Newday is about, Newday is about nothing. That's what we're here for. That's what 2019 has been about, especially. But in a way, it's what it is every year.
Brilliant. Thanks, Joel. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in.
Thank you.
Please like and subscribe this video and stay in touch for more content from Newday TV.
Newday TV.
See you later.